Okay, so I am going to do my best to go over all of the most common sampling techniques. But first, before we get to that, I am going to do something that's very important with this window over here that we've been using, but we haven't talked much about. So this is the browser window. You can open it with this one, two, three, four, fifth button here. I want to configure extra folders because this is where I'm going to put my samples. When you guys download samples that I put up on the website, they'll be in your downloads folder, and you want to find a place that you can put them. You can maybe make a spot on your desktop. If you have an external hard drive, you could save it there, but we're going to go through that process. So I'm going to make a new folder on my desktop as soon as my computer decides to move faster. I'm going to go new folder, okay, and I'm just going to call this summer samples, okay. Then I'm going to take the stuff that I downloaded right here, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to go to that samples folder that I just created, and I'm going to put these in here. Okay, so anything that I put in that folder now, I want to be able to access that from inside the program instead of having to drag it from outside the program in. So I'm going to click on this arrow in the upper left-hand corner of the browser. I'm going to scroll down to where it says configure extra folders, and then I'm going to click a folder, and I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to locate that summer samples folder. Select the folder, and now it's going to pop up on my browser. Here it is. So when I click that, everything that I put in that folder will appear. Now, I recognize that some of you are on the trial version. There's a possibility that this won't work, but this is an important step if it does allow you, because it makes life a lot easier. There are other ways that you can access samples if you wanted. One of the ways is you could go into the sampler. If you have an empty project, you can go into the sampler. You can click on this load sample folder, and then you can locate wherever it is that you put those samples at. So if I go into desktop, I can go in here. The only issue is you're not able to demo sounds. So I could go in here and I could pick whatever sound I wanted, and then it would open in this little spot here, but you're not always going to be able to preview stuff. I mean, it's letting me when I click on it, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen for you. One of the benefits of having it over here in the browser is I can click on it, and I can click and scroll as I'm just pressing down on my keyboard. Okay, so we're going to take a sample. This is Oh Gosh Leotis' most recent drum kit, and this is a multi-kit that I made with Oh Gosh Leotis and my buddy Dream Life in Panama. So we can go through some of these samples and figure out what we're going to do. I'm not going to send you this entire kit. I mean, I can make it available to you, excuse me, but the thing is that they're very big. And I know some of you are running low on computer space, so I'm only going to send you what you need to know for this particular project. So let's go through this one, because actually no, let's go through the Panama kit, because I'm proud that I was a part of this. So let's look at some of these compositions. Okay, I want to use this one. So there's a couple of different ways that you can mess with the sample. So like I said, you could go this route where you do this and then you go into the folder if you know exactly where it is. And I guess in your instance you would know, because I'm only going to give you so many samples. because I don't want to confuse you. But you can go this way where you're going through all the samples and select it that way. Or you could drag it from over here. Oh, it looks like I'm running into some issues dragging it into the playlist. Okay. If you do run into issues being able, which you're supposed to be able to drag it into your playlist, but if it's not letting you, then that's kind of weird. Whatever. You can right click it and you could say send to the playlist as an audio clip. So you don't have to drag it, which is what I was trying to do. You could right click it and you could send it to a SliceX channel, which is actually one of my favorite ways of doing it. And I'm probably going to spend some time showing you guys how to mess around with this. Well, not probably, I will. But so yeah, you have the option of sending it to a sampler channel like I just did. So it shows up like this. Or you could right click it and send it to the slicer channel. Or you could do a slicer channel also. This one's not my favorite, and I have reasons for that. But we'll leave all these options open. Don't worry about a granulizer channel. There's way too much going on with that. So you have the option of the sampler channel, the slicer channel, the SliceX channel, or you could send it to the playlist, which I'm not seeing that option anymore. I don't know if that's because it's already here. But yeah, let me see if I could try to send a different one. Oh, yeah, it's up top. So over here, I would go up here. Send to playlist as an audio clip, or you could send a playlist as an audio track, or you could send it as an instrument track. You're going to want to go with either audio track or audio clip. Now, if you do audio track, it's going to automatically link it to one of the mixer channels. So if I do it like this, as you can see, it popped up right there in the mixer channel, which is useful if you want to chop it. But those are your different options, okay? So now that we've got the sample inside of the program, now let's manipulate it. So there's a couple different ways that you can manipulate it. It's on the playlist, so you can manipulate it in one pretty obvious way. You could take this little slicer button here, and you could just start cutting stuff arbitrarily. This is crazy, but you could do it that way. I'm gonna highlight this and I'm gonna get rid of it. So that's one way that you could do it. The thing about it though, something that you want to be mindful of is the BPM. Now, one of the reasons that SliceX is my favorite, so we're gonna do SliceX because it's my favorite. And there is a program that's on the market called Serato Sample. It's like $100 or something like that. But SliceX does a lot of the same stuff. So I'm just going to open up all here, and I'm going to look for my SliceX channel. Now I'm going to delete the stuff that's on my playlist. I'm going to open up my SliceX channel. Now, one of the benefits of the SliceX channel is that I can create all the slices the way that I want to. So let's go with one of the obvious ones. I can just click on here and it'll just, if I click this one, it's going to auto slice for me. So if I do that, that's what all these are. And then all these slices actually get mapped to the piano roll. So if you wanted to use these individual slices, let me move this over and move my piano roll over. Yeah, so if you want to get really like detailed with your sampling, that's definitely one way that you could go. You can actually change the way that it does that. So you could do dull audio slicing, so it's a little less detailed, or you could do sharp, which will give you the most. Or you can do grid slicing. So if you do large grid slicing, it'll give you these. And these are all tempo based. So as you can see, the tempo is at 140. The sample is actually 77 BPM, and I know that because we made it, and it's in the information here. So this is a way that you could sample things. The only thing that I don't like about this, well, let me play it for you first. So when you sample it like that and you're not paying attention to the BPM or the BPM of the project, it's just going to sample on the tempo that is already present. So when I press play, and if you pay attention, you can hear little pops every time it plays a different sample. We don't like those pops. Those pops are not good. But that's because it's cutting against what we call transients. So these are transients right here. These sharp, the high points in the wave file are transients. If you don't want those pops, you'll get a lot cleaner samples if you do it on the transient. But I'm just going to show you that you can go, if you're right clicking this button here, you can get medium slicing, you can get small grid slicing, which that's a lot. So when I play it now, you'll hear more pops because it's cutting in between. Now, you could switch this to dual auto slicing. And one of the things that I like about SliceX is that I can put my markers wherever I like. Now, ideally, you want to zoom in. Now, I have a mouse, so I'm scrolling like this. If you don't have a mouse like this and you just have a regular laptop, what you're going to do is you're going to take your finger, you're going to go to more or less the area that you want to be in. You can use two fingers and just move them like this, and that'll help you zoom in. So I'm just going like that. If you want to get particularly close, you can click somewhere, and then you can press the page down button or the page up button, and I can hold it and I can get really close. Now, I like getting really close because it allows you to see exactly where the sample starts. So you want to go here and you want to put a marker at this spot right here. As you can see, it's kind of like blank, empty. That's what's called a zero cross point. And if you put a marker there and you cut your samples at the zero cross points, you're going to get rid of those pops completely because that's naturally where the wave file would start. So I'm going to do that. I'll put one there. Now let's say I just wanted to put a marker for each of those transients. I could zoom in to each one and say, okay, here's my zero cross point. I'll put a marker there. And I could say, oh, here's my zero cross point. I'll put a marker here. Or I could say, oh, here's my zero cross point. I'll put a marker here. Now, all this stuff actually gets mapped into the piano roll. So as I'm putting those markers down, it's creating these buttons. Now, if I actually shrink this and I look at SliceX, I'll be playing them as I play on the piano roll. Let me move this over here. See? Ooh. I like that sound. Okay, so this is where you can start to get creative. So once you've chopped them up how you like, I really like that. And you can still shrink this to play only what you want. So I can repeat that sound if I want to. Now I kind of need to figure out the tempo that I want. So in my head, I'm thinking. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the idea that's in my head. So I can play this sample at that tempo since it's chopped. You see what I'm saying? And I can quantize that also. So I'll quick quantize it. And then I can play these other ones. Okay, I need to play these a little closer. Okay, so I kind of like this pattern that I've made from the sample. Now I'm actually going to flip-flop these because that's the idea that I have in my head. So I'm just going to move these over here. I can delete this, and then I can highlight the whole thing, and then hold shift in the arrows to move it back. Okay, so now I have a pattern that I like. Now I need some drums. So let's go look for some drums. I could use the drums that are in there, make my own drum pattern. But since we're talking about sampling, I want to find some other drums. So let's see. I'll go inside of Oh Gosh's drum kit here. Try to find something maybe that's in the 84 range. Let's see how I feel about these drums. I like that, but I feel like there's too many hits going on. Oh, this one's 84. It's not my favorite, but let's try this out. So I'm gonna click on the this piano here in the playlist, and I'm gonna drag this over to an empty spot on the playlist so that I can test out these drums with it. Sounds better than I thought. Now, I really do like that. I'm going to save where I'm at. I know for you guys might not be able to save. Well, I think you can save, but you might not be able to open the project. I'm going to save this. I'm actually going to save this in that same folder that I just created, that Summer Samples folder. I'm going to say sample 101. Okay. So these drums worked out, but let's say I had some drums that were a different tempo. I could go with this one, which I played before. And I can drag this in. And as you can see, the drums are going over. Let me just check that I'm still recording. Yeah, the drums are going over. So I can stretch the drums to make them fit the tempo. Let's go up in this upper left-hand corner, click channel settings, click stretch, and then right-click here, click auto detect. Now, I haven't done this yet, but there's 4 here, and there's, let's see, it's 4/4 time, so each of these bars is going to have 16 in them. So 16 times 4, which is what we have here, is going to give us 64. So I'm going to press auto detect and then type in beats. I'm sorry, it's 32. No, it's not 32. Well, hold on, let me see. That's slower than I want. I'm going to put 16, 4x4, sorry, 16. So I'm going to right click here, go auto detect, type in beats, and I'm going to put 16. Oops. There we go. Now, another way that you could do that is I could take this same drum pattern and I could send it over to a SliceX channel, like so. I don't want it on the same pattern. I'm going to put it on a different pattern. So if I leave it just as is, it probably chopped the samples. Let's look at it. It chopped the samples based on, it tried to chop the samples based on transients. No, it tried to chop the samples based on beats. So if I go in here and I right click right here and I go medium auto slicing. Oh yeah, no, it looks like it's still based on beats. So I'm just gonna put my own samples in here. Or actually I can just delete the samples that I don't like. So I don't really want this. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, I guess it is kind of, I don't really want that one. That's fine. I don't want that to be broken up. And I'm just right clicking to listen to these samples. I want that to go all the way out. And it's mapping these onto the piano roll as I make these adjustments. And I'm just right clicking these to get rid of the ones that I don't like. Okay, so I can take this chopped pattern, which is pattern 2, and put it underneath, and we can see how that sounds. Or, if you wanted to, you could take these sounds and you could make your own drum patterns out of these samples, right? I could right click this and I could drag this button into over here. And now I can actually use this kick like normal, like the kicks that you would drag from over in the browser. So I could do this, take that snare, that's a hi-hat, and then I could just go, let's make a pattern real quick. And then do this. So I could take that pattern, pattern 3, and I'm just going to mute this. I'm going to take pattern 3 and I'm put this here, and that'll be the drums that I made from the sample. Like sampling the drums from the sample. Let me make sure this is on grid. I want to put this on line. And then just copy and paste. Let's see what we got. And I could use both. Let me make sure that I'm charging the computer because I don't want it to die. Battery looks a little low. Ooh. Okay, let me make sure I'm still recording. Sweet. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Sweet. Still recording. Sweet. Okay. So I can mix these drum patterns too. Now that I got them all chopped up, let's say I wanted to use that little drum roll that's at the end of this one instead of this, or maybe like the last like little bit here. I can just move this back. See? And then let's say I want to add bass to this. I got to figure out the key, right? We talked about scales and stuff. So if I wanted to add some other instruments to the game, I'm gonna get on my FL keys so I can figure out what the key is. Now I know what the key is because we made the samples, but I'm not looking at it right now. So if you need to try to figure out what the key is, you play it. That's not in there. No. Okay, so I know that this note's in there, this one. Not that one. And that's just listening to the sample and listening to what notes sound good with the sample. See, I can play just the sample. Let me solo this. Okay, so I'm going to now, if I want to add any instruments to this, I'm going to press piano roll, and I'm going to play those same notes that I just played. I mean, I played them higher, but... Okay, so I know all these notes work with that sample. So I'm just going to copy these over here, drop them down an octave, drag them back, and I could maybe even take them and copy them over again, shoot them up an octave or two to make sure that I know exactly what notes can play. Then I can highlight the whole thing and I can write melodies, basses, all different types of stuff to go with this sample. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to clone this. And then when I go into the piano, I'm going to mute this. When I go into the piano roll, there's all the gray, so I know what can work. So I'm going to play the sample and try to come up with a bass line. I'm thinking it's one of those. Yeah, for the bass, the 4. I'm too far over. Sounds like this note might be in there. Yeah, that is the note. So I could take those notes that I just made here. Let's create a, let's go into Flex. And I'm going to go, let me look for a sine. There you go. In the general MIDI library, sine wave. It's a nice pure sound. I'm going to cut that MIDI, put it over here. See how it sounds. So I'm going to drop this down an octave. Yeah. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to cut this and I'm going to put it on a different pattern. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to turn this off and put this pattern here. So let's see how it plays with the sample. Sounds good. Put these drums back in. Now I could go on, but that's generally the concept and how you go about sampling stuff. I showed you guys how you can chop up a sample, how you could put it into the SliceX, how you could drag some drums in, how you could take the drum samples out. You can manipulate everything. I mean, I'm showing you the tools and the sky's the limit as far as what you can make here. So that's how you sample. Let me know if you have any questions, email me, and there you go. Also, of course, if you wanted to. Now, I will say this before I finish. I'm going to put the bass on a separate track. And really, you should put everything on its own track. But I'm putting the bass on a separate track because I noticed that it's a little loud. So I'm going to just drop it down a little bit. Yeah. Export wave file. And I'll put it in that folder. But I might make a separate folder and just call it finished projects. And save it there. Okay. Also, you could loop this twice if you wanted, just so that it plays more. And then if you decide that you want to switch to the other drums that we had from before, just put them in here. Oops, not that one, not that sample. It was this one. You know, interchangeable. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you. Let me make sure. Okay. Audio still recording. Screen record still recording. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to tell you. You can pitch shift stuff. So let's say you wanted this to be different. A couple things you could do here. I could pitch the sample down just by accessing the SliceX. I can click on here and change the pitch of the project itself. If I go in here, move this up to 12, and then pitch it down, could do that. Try to keep it on a solid like 100, so like 500 cents. The thing is that when you do it that way, I'm actually changing the length of the sample too because I'm pitching it down so it's getting longer. So that's one thing that you got to be mindful of. I could try to shift the time. Oh no, that's pushing it back. Let's go over here. Another way that you can do this is you could highlight this pattern, right? Just by itself, nothing else highlighted. Hit Control, I guess for you all it would be Command Option C, and you can bounce it out to a WAV file now. So a WAV file is in there, and then I can select this, go to Channel Settings, make sure that it's on Stretch, and I can still put it in the same amount of beats, 16, and I can pitch it down here. So I can pitch it down 500, and it'll maintain the same length. So, or if I wanted it to be 200. Only thing with this is you then have to figure out what the key is. I mean, I know that I went down 2, so I would have to shift the bass notes down 2. But, you know, sometimes the key that you start your sample off in is not what you're hearing in your head. Maybe you want it to be higher, like this. I honestly like it as is, so I'm gonna leave it as is, but I just wanted to show you that. Oh! Creative things that you could do. I'm sorry, I'm just inspired right now. Creative things that you could do. I could take this sample now that I have it turned into its own WAV file, and I could use that slicing tool on the grid, unlike how I showed you initially. So I could do these cuts like this if I wanted to. And actually, let me undo that. I could create a copy of this sample. So let me insert another track here. Shift, pull it over, and make this one unique. So I'm just right clicking and saying make unique. You know, you could save it wherever. Now when you go in here and I do the channel settings, I could reverse it. So with the reverse part, I can chop some of these in and out. So I could go like this, this, and I could take these, and I could just interchange if I wanted. So I could do this, take this one out, do this, take this one out. Let's see how that sounds. You know? Anyway, sky's the limit. So I want you guys to sample for your homework. I'm gonna give you guys some samples that you can play with, some drum loops, some samples, and I want you to sample something.